module. I'm really excited to share this one with you because I know how many of you struggle to get results from your emails. I hear it all the time. People say they get ghosted, they send out emails, they get no response, and they don't get results from bookings. And that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video right now. So what we're looking to do is get better results from your emails, more responses, and ultimately more of your couples moving to the next step in your sales journey. Now, I'm really going to be quite specific about the part of the sales journey we're going to be covering, and that part is from inquiry to deposit. What I mean by that is that there is another video coming soon about email marketing to help you drive more inquiries, and that's kind of emailing to a cold audience. What we're talking about here is emailing to those people who have actually inquired with you. That very first inquiry and that very first response you're going to send back, and up until the point at which they pay a deposit. To be honest, what you write to them after they pay a deposit is completely up to you, because at that point they've booked. And so I leave that one with you. We're going to be focusing on that email conversation that happens between point of inquiry and the time you take the deposit. Now, everything I'm going to share with you in this video is going to be a framework. So you will be able to put your personality, your tone, your brand language into the framework. And that is really important, because actually I don't want to just give you a template for you to copy and paste, because it's going to be in my voice and not in yours. And so I'm going to share with you various different examples and give you the framework to add your language, your words, and your tone into. There is going to be a lot of text in this one on the screen. So in a moment, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go through the slides together. And there is going to be a lot of text just because of the nature of teaching you about emails. I need to show you lots and lots of phrases and words and examples. So please do feel free to pause and kind of absorb the information. And of course, I'll be reading everything that is written as well, so you should be able to keep up. At the end of the video, I'm going to share with you 2 bonus tips to your emails. So do make sure you stay right to the end so that you get all of the information. If you do have your workbook, then let's get that ready. Grab a pen and let's get started. So in this session, we are covering emails that convert, such an important part of the sales journey. Ultimately, what we're really saying is that we want emails that drive action, that mean our clients are taking action when they receive our email. So rather than just reading it and thinking, yeah, I'll answer that later, or, oh, well, that was nice, but not actually spurring them into action, that's what we're going to avoid. So our emails in this video, we're going to talk about what we want to achieve, what our emails should be achieving. We're going to be ditching the old school phrases. We're going to be talking about subject lines. They're more important than you know. I'm going to give you a useful phrase that helps people to move to the next step. And then I'm going to give you that 4-step email template, which you will be able to use in your business. So just have a think for a moment. Why do we need amazing, enticing, modern email communication skills? Why is it even important? Well, ultimately, a lot of our couples want to connect with us by email, right? That's how they want to do business. And I don't know about you, but when I was at school, people just showed me how to operationally create an email, you know, which button to click, where to press. But the only knowledge I had before really delving into email psychology and sales was how to write a letter. And writing a letter is very different to writing an email. And the way our millennials, who are, as you know, usually our target market, the way they receive and use email is very, very different to how you would use a typical letter correspondence. So we need that amazing, enticing, modern email communication, because ultimately that's what creates the next step in our sales journey. Now, the data shows that 78% of your couples want to communicate with their venues and suppliers by email. So they have specifically said this is the way they like to speak. They don't want to get on the phone. They want you to actually talk to them by email. Just like you to take a minute. Think about how important that initial email inquiry response is. So your couple have sent an email and said, hello, can you send us your brochure, your prices, your availability, blah, blah, blah. That first initial email. How important is your response back, your first email communication to them? With 10 being super important, 1 to 10, just think of a number right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is your first email to the couple? I'm going to guess that most of you are saying 10 because it's your first impression. We know that that first email has such weight. Now, what I'd love you to do is, again, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your current email inquiry response? So the one you currently send out, if we think of that on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you when you look at that email? Do you feel excited? Do you feel proud? Do you think, yes, this is the best email I could be sending on that initial response? And now we've got these two numbers. I'm going to guess for most of you, the numbers are different. So i.e., you're probably a 10 on the fact that it's really, really important, and you're probably somewhere in the middle numbers, 5 or 6, about how happy you are with your initial email inquiry response. And what we obviously want is that initial inquiry response is up there in the high numbers. When we're thinking about that initial response, why is this one email, this one email so important? And it really is very critical. And it's because this one email is your one shot to stand out from your competition. The likelihood is your couple has emailed a few of your competitors as well as you. So for example, if we picture a bride or a groom researching florists, they will have found 2 or 3 florists that they're interested in. They would have stalked you online. We know, don't we, how much they're stalking us online. And then they've narrowed it down to their top 3, and they've emailed those 3 florists or those 3 venues or those 3 photographers. And so you're going to be emailing back pretty much around the same time as your competitors, and you really need to stand out. You have to get the sparkle and the glitter and the fireworks from your email so that they respond to you, and that it doesn't just get lost in their huge inbox of hundreds and hundreds of emails. So what we're looking to achieve with your emails is to connect and build rapport. We know, don't we, how important it is that our couples feel that connection and they feel that rapport with us. We want to excite them about our product and or our service. We want them to really feel excited about what we are offering. We need to create an emotional response. Remember, we've spoken before about logic and emotion. We need to create an emotional response and not just a logical response in our couples. We need to help them to feel safe and smart. Remember, they're not experts. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know if they're even emailing the right suppliers or asking the right questions. And so we want our couples to feel safe and smart. And importantly, guys, and the thing I see venues and suppliers missing most of the time is simply encouraging that couple to move to the next step. And that is definitely what we're going to cover in this session. So let me ask you something. Why is it that we write things in emails that we wouldn't say in person? And I just want you to take a second to think if you do this. I definitely used to do this. So back in the day when I was at the 5-star hotels in London, such as Claridge's and Mandarin, I would write emails that said things like, please find attached the brochure for your perusal. And I said that because I thought that the word perusal kind of fitted the brand and it was the right thing for me to say, and it kind of sounded posh. But I would never say the word perusal in real life. I would never speak to a client on the phone and say, have you perused the brochure? And it's really interesting that we have this language that we use in emails that we wouldn't actually say in person. The most important thing that we need to think about when we're writing emails is how your client is going to receive it. And we often miss out thinking about this because we're all about what we want to write, what we want to say, and although we want to help them, it's human nature that we're coming at it from our own mindset. And so when we're writing an email and creating new templates, we always have to think about it from our client's point of view. And they're asking this question, what's in it for me? And it's what we all ask. Whenever we get an email, whenever we get anything, we always think, okay, what's in it for me? What benefit does this have to me? And so every time we write an email, I want you to think from your client's point of view, what's in it for them? What's the benefit and the good stuff that they actually want? So let's start getting into some phrases and some actual words that we might be using. I wonder how you feel about these commonly used sentences. I'm delighted you are considering us at ABC Florists for your wedding. I am more than happy to explore all possible options for your wedding day. I'm delighted to inform you I do have availability on the 20th of April 2021. I will happily put a date in the diary if you'd like to come in and visit the venue. How do you feel about these sentences? What do they evoke in terms of emotion, and what do you notice about all of them? Okay, so you've probably noticed that all of these sentences start with I. When the writer starts all the sentences or lots of the sentences with I or we, it feels to the reader as if we're only kind of interested in our own agenda. And even though we're trying to be nice and saying, I'm delighted to tell you this information, it actually doesn't come across that way to the reader. And so what happens is when our couples are reading emails where we are talking about how we feel that we're delighted and starting our sentences with I and we, it actually has a negative response in the reader. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to give you some ways that we can actually make that change quickly. So how do we quickly fast track changing our sentences to make it about the couple and not us? And this is kind of a quick win. I really want you to start developing your email writing skills, but this is going to give you a very quick win that you can start using as soon as this video is finished. We're simply going to use less I and we at the beginning of our sentences and more you and your. So less I and we and more you and your. And it's actually much easier than you think to just flip your sentence around. So when you're going to write, I'm delighted to tell you, you try and think, okay, how can I start this sentence with you or your? And what you'll find is that your writing becomes about your client and not about you. And the reader receives it in a completely different way. So let me give some examples using those phrases we just looked at. These are the exact same phrases we just looked at. Instead of saying, I'm delighted you're considering, you could say, you have made a great choice considering ABC Florists for your wedding, blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying, I'm more than happy to explore, you might say, there are lots of possible options for your wedding day. Instead of saying, I'm delighted to inform you about a date, you might say, great news, your preferred date is available. And by the way, here's a little bonus tip for you. If you are in a position where your product or your service changes seasonally, so this is probably florists and venues, then there is something really nice you can do and actually link in something that happens in that season that they've chosen. So for example, here you might say, great news, your preferred date is available. At this time of year, the gardens are in full bloom with a sea of yellow daffodils. What you do is take it from a logical to them being able to picture those daffodils throughout the spring. Does that make sense? And then that other phrase we had, I'll happily put a date in the diary, again, all about us. You, let's start it with you. You must have lots of questions at this exciting time. Why not come and visit the house and allow me to answer all your wedding planning questions over a glass of bubbles? So we make it much more about them simply by switching the way we start our sentences. Okay, this one might freak you all out a little bit. So please bear with me, because when I teach this one in a live class, I always see people's faces start to go, oh no. And so just bear with me as we go through this part. I'm going to share with you some phrases and words that I want you to delete from your vocabulary. Now, remember, I'm talking about point of inquiry to deposit. If you want to use these after they pay you a deposit, that's fine. My work is done here. But this we definitely want to think about before they've paid a deposit. And I'm going to explain why we're going to be deleting some of these phrases. So, who uses, I hope you're well? Come on, be honest. Who starts their emails with, I hope you're well? And I'm going to guess that 99% of you just went, Oh, yeah, I use that because everyone does. I hope you're well is an interesting phrase. We use it at the beginning of emails because we're trying to be nice before we get down to business. But I wonder, as a reader, how you actually respond to this phrase. So if your electricity company was to email you and say, I hope you're well, before they got down to business, would you feel that they genuinely cared about you? Would you really feel that they really hoped that you were well? Or would you just see it as a phrase that we all write and we all hear, and it's a bit generic fluff that we just see all the time? Yeah, exactly. It's generic fluff. We just see it all the time and it doesn't have any weight. I also want you to delete. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, right? Hands up, who uses this at the end of their emails? Now, the problem with this phrase is who has the control of what's going on? If we're ending our emails with, if you have questions, don't hesitate to contact me, then what we're doing is really allowing the couple to be in control of the sales journey. We want to be clear about what happens next. And so we shouldn't have any wishy-washy endings about if they have questions, then they should contact you. Don't worry, the 4-part framework is coming up about how we structure our emails moving forward. How about how we start our inquiry response? Who says this? Thank you very much for your inquiry and congratulations on your engagement. Eek! How many of you start your emails this way? So the reason I am not a fan of this is because everyone says it. Everyone says it. Go do a competitor analysis. Go and inquire a few of your competitors or any venues or suppliers globally, and everyone will start their email with, thank you very much for your inquiry and congratulations on your engagement. We want to stand out from the crowd. We want to be different. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how you're going to be different. But this is the reason why I want you to start taking this out of your emails. Firstly, I don't want you to thank them in this way because you are the expert. They are going to have an amazing experience with you should they choose you to work with. And it's not like the corporate market where we need to thank them for putting, their allocated budget in our direction. And so I really want you to come up with something much more exciting. I'm going to talk about that soon. Please note. Please note is a really interesting phrase. We use it often. We use it in our brochures. We use it on our emails. Please note, we do not allow naked flame candles. Please note, we do not take bookings on Saturdays, whatever it is. And actually, please note sounds really harsh, like, you're being told off. And mostly the information could just be written. We didn't have to say please note at the beginning. How about ending our emails with, I look forward to hearing from you. Now, hopefully you have got on the bandwagon by now and you're realizing that if you end an email in this way, you are not in control of the sales process. Your couple are. And that's why we're not going to end our emails with that. And as mentioned, so this is when you're going back and forth. So maybe after you've had your initial inquiry and they might have asked a question again, sometimes we're repeating ourselves and it's tempting to write, as mentioned in my previous email, the bar closes at 11 p.m. As mentioned in my previous email, those sorts of roses are more expensive than XYZ roses. As mentioned, makes people feel really stupid for asking the question. And for me, if clients are asking questions, it's because they are interested in working with you. And so questions means an opportunity for me to continue the conversation and continue moving them down the sales journey. So don't make them feel bad for asking the question again and delete as mentioned. So these are just some of the generic fluff phrases that we're going to start deleting from our emails. Now, if you use all of these, then you are normal. Lots and lots of people do. And of course, what that means is that everybody's email sounds exactly the same. They all start with congratulations, or I hope you're well, and they all end with, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me, blah, blah, blah. And what we want to do is start standing out from the crowd. So we definitely want to inject every interaction with positivity and enthusiasm. And what I tend to see is that sometimes on email, we can kind of lose our personality and we just go into, good morning, I hope you're well, please find attached the brochure, blah, blah, blah. And there's not that level of excitement And actually, when we send an email, people can't see our facial expressions. They can't hear the tone in your voice. So if you are excited, they can't hear it. And we have to communicate that with better words and phrases. So what we need to do is in our emails is consistently remind them that they are or have made a really smart decision to work with you. We need them to feel that they will or are making a really smart decision to work with you. And you can communicate that level of positivity and enthusiasm through your emails. Here's an example. This is one where a bride has actually just paid the deposit. So let me give you a before and after. There's nothing wrong with the before, but let me know how you feel about the after and the different emotion it evokes in you as the listener and reader. So, dear Miss Poodle, thank you for sending us your deposit for your wedding. Attached, please find your receipt of payment, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. Now, firstly, dear Miss Poodle, at this point, if she's paid your deposit, we should be on much warmer terms. Thank you for sending us your deposit. Okay, great. She knows you received the money. Attached is the payment receipt, and contact you if you have questions. Now, she's paid a deposit, so I get that there aren't next steps in this sales journey, but let me just switch it up a little bit for you. How about we try this? Hello, Lucy. Congratulations on choosing ABC Hotel for your wedding venue. You've made an excellent decision and you can count on enjoying a wonderful day with your friends and family. Your deposit has been received and now you can move on to all the fun things such as cake tasting and trying on beautiful dresses. Now remember, your couple have just paid a deposit. They've just given you some money and probably a significant amount of money in their deposit. We want them to still feel safe and smart that they've made a good decision. And by reading the two of these emails, which do you feel she's going to feel more excited about having paid that money to? Because we don't want buyer's remorse. We don't want her to think, oh, have I made the right decision? Which lots of our couples do feel. So I wonder if you do feel the difference as the reader or listener at the moment to these two email responses. Let's talk a little bit about subject lines. And I wonder what some of your standard subject lines are. And people really underestimate how important that subject line is. We often feel that it doesn't really matter what we write because they've asked for an email, they've asked for that brochure or pricing, so they're going to open the email anyway, right? Not every email gets opened. And if you have some sort of CRM or email management system, you will know that not every single email ever gets opened. And so one of the big ways we can make sure it gets opened is your subject line. So these are some of the typical subject lines I see our venues and vendors using, such as wedding inquiry, wedding brochure, ABC wedding planners, your wedding photography. And these are very, very standard subject lines. And I wonder if you recognize some of the ones you use in this list. In an ideal format, to get more of your emails opened and to begin creating a connection with your couple, what I'd love you to use is this format: their name plus your service plus the date. So what do I mean by that exactly? Well, we're going to start with their name because I want you to picture your bride or your groom looking at their inbox. It's full of emails. Whose inbox isn't full of emails these days, right? Sometimes it's promotional stuff. Sometimes it's things you've asked for. Sometimes it's maybe work things or family things. Our inboxes are an overcrowded place. And by using their name at the beginning of your subject line, you're actually going to find that people are more drawn to your email. I want you to picture something like a conference where you might have been on a guest list, or back in the day when I was young enough to go night clubbing and I might have been on a guest list. If someone can't find your name on a list, they show you the paper. How quickly do you spot your name? It's pretty fast, right? Because we just scan and we find our name like that. It jumps off the page to us, but not to everyone else. And so what I want you to do is use that psychology. When they're looking at their inbox, I want their name jumping out of the inbox so that it screams, open me. And so we're going to start off using their name. So here's a few examples. Joe and Simon's wedding at ABC Hotel, summer 21. So we've got their names plus the service, which is ABC Hotel, plus the date, summer 21. Now, the date is the least important and is actually more for you, to be honest, so that when you're managing your inbox, you have some kind of structure to see the different couples with the different dates they're looking at. And it might be a specific date or it might be a season. Now, what you do want to do is be careful if you're putting a specific date that is not on hold, because if they see a specific date in their subject box, they might think that that date is on hold with you. So just be careful with that one. The most important thing is you start with their name, and you follow it by your service. Here's another example. Betty's Wedding Flowers, summer 21. So if you don't have the partner's name, just use the person who's inquired. And again, the service here would be Wedding Flowers, and then we've got the date. Or John and Sam's Wedding Styling, summer 21. So we've got their name, the service, which is the styling or the venue dressing, and then the date. So your subject box is really important to make sure you actually get an open, and it immediately begins to connect their names with your product or service. Okay, let's give a little bit of an overall strategy, a few quick wins. Your sales emails, which is what they are between inquiry and deposit, cannot be purely transactional. If you just give fact after fact, people find it really boring. Your buyer needs to feel good about the next step. They want to feel cared about and excited. So we're going to have to get some emotion in there. The biggest tip I can give you is keep it short and snappy. Everyone is time short. How do you feel when you open up a big, huge email? I tell you what I do. I think I'll read that later. Imagine if your couples are inquiring with you, you send an email, and simply because it's too long, they think I'll read it later, and they never do. Because above your email, ping, 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 comes a million other emails, and they never open your email ever again. Keep it short and snappy. Everyone is time short. We all know by now, if you have watched the previous modules, that every click is people falling off the sales journey. So don't make your clients work for it. Anything you're asking them to do, too much effort, too many clicks, will simply mean they don't move to the next step. We need to make it really, really easy for them. I want you to write like a human, not a robot. So this comes back to kind of that old school phrases, the generic fluff we've been talking about. I want you to use real words and sentences. I want you to write the way you speak. Of course, remaining professional and by showing positivity and enthusiasm. Now, here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that none of you talk to a client by saying, yo, yo, homie, what's up? I know that was a really bad impression, but you know what I mean. None of you are saying, none of you are speaking in that way. You speak to your clients in the correct manner with the correct words, but it's warm and it's friendly and it's connecting. And that's how I want you to start writing your emails. So we're not losing that level of professionalism, but we're gaining that feel of being a human being and being warm. You can also use questions to boost response rates. So what I mean by this is asking people short questions enables them to give you a quick reply, and then you get into a conversation. Now be really careful with your questions. If you're going to say, what's the vision for your wedding? You will not get a response, and you will say, that did not work, Kelly. And the reason it didn't work is because you're asking your people for something A, they don't know, and B, that would take them days to write. So what you want are questions that are either yes or no answers, or very quick wins. Have you booked your ceremony yet? Do you know if you're getting married at your reception venue or at a church? Give them quick wins that they can come back to you on, that allows a conversation to begin. Another thing you can use is the phrase other couples, and we use this other brides, other grooms, other couples, other clients, however you want to phrase it. I'm going to explain what I mean by this. When we say to, let's take a bride, or let's just use the word couple. When we say to a couple, other couples have done X, Y, and Z, it really helps them to see how other people like them have taken a particular journey, a particular path. And this really appeals to our human nature. We really quite like that. I'm going to give you an example. If you try to tell your clients your point of view, they know you're coming at it almost from, a sales point of view. And so it doesn't hold a lot of weight. When you say that other couples have done something, it takes the emphasis off of you and puts it onto what other people do. And I'll give you an example. let's say at your venue, and this is a problem we have lots of venues, is that the carpets are not great, right? And the reason the carpets are not great is usually because either it's an older hotel, or B, we have to have these crazy carpets to cover the footfall, the dirt and the wine and everything else that gets onto those carpets. But our clients don't understand that. And so your couple might say, oh, really don't like the carpet. And it's the only thing holding them back from booking. And you would say, normally you would say, well, trust me, when you put the chairs and tables on, you really won't notice the carpet at all. And they're going to think, yeah, well, she would say that. All you need to do is flip the focus to say, that's really interesting. And I do understand what you're saying about the carpet. Other couples have found that once their tables and chairs went down, they really didn't notice the carpet. Do you see the switch? So what you're doing is pushing the emphasis onto what other people think and feel and what they have done previously. And it really helps you to move people through objections. You can use it to help them take the next step. Other couples have found that jumping on a quick Zoom call really helped them to make a decision. Other couples have found that coming in to see me really helped them to answer all their questions. Instead of saying, I think you should do this. This is a really nice one to deal with price comparison. So when we're talking about, let's say your couple says, I love your work, but the florist down the road actually is doing pretty much the same thing for 10% cheaper. What you can do is then say, I really hear what you're saying. What we found is really my other couples have found that they get more flowers, better quality, better service, whatever it is, using my business. So what we're doing is saying that other couples have found that actually they got better value from you. So in the end, it worked out a better price. Does this make sense? And again, booking a tour or a meeting. So other couples have found that once they came in to see us, it really helped them to make a decision. Okay, let's start talking about some email responses that I've seen that don't work that well, that don't work. And we're going to look at two so that we can compare what isn't working to what we're going to start doing. Now, what I've done here is use two venue responses because I know we're quite venue heavy in our group and to save time, but I'm sure that you guys, planners, florists, photographers, you will all be able to use the same idea in terms of these ones that don't work. And don't worry, the 4-step process is going to work perfectly well for everyone. So here's one response. Good morning. Please see attached the details for ABC Hotel regarding wedding packages. Our maximum numbers are 120 for the wedding breakfast. We do not offer ceremonies at the hotel, but we do have the Guildhall directly opposite the hotel. If you have any questions, please let me know. Many thanks. How do you feel? Do you feel excited? Are you desperate to go and see this hotel? Is this definitely the one that's kind of warming your cockles? You know, it's not, is it? There's something very logical, cold, very straightforward. We're all about what we can't do, and we've totally left the next step in the hands of the couple. The couple don't even know what they're supposed to do. They don't even know what they're supposed to do next. And so this response would not actually achieve good results. Now, this one, thank you for your recent inquiry and congratulations on your engagement. I'd love to hear more about the proposal. Firstly, she's trying to build a rapport, but do you think that the person reading this, the bride or the groom, has time or the inclination to write back explaining about the proposal? This is too early to ask that question. Carrying on, I'm delighted to inform you that we do currently have availability on the 20th of June, and with many years of experience behind us, we were able to offer you our considerable knowledge of suppliers and running diverse events and weddings, as well as highly professional service, which are the perfect recipe for creating your dream wedding day. What do you think? Firstly, it's all about them, right? It's all about them. We're starting with the I and we're talking all about us and our experience, and we're not really explaining how that might have impact on the wedding day. So whilst we're talking about ourselves, there's no what this means for the couple. Let's carry on. I'm more than happy to explore all possible options for your day. Please find attached the wedding brochure with the package we offer, as well as prices and menus. If you would like to come and visit the hotel, I'd happily put a date in the diary for us to meet. I look forward to hearing from you. Kind regards. How much of that is fluff? How excited am I to go for a show round? How emotionally compelling is this email? And although she does say if you'd like to come in, she'll happily put a date in the diary. Well, hell, of course you will, because you want my money. It isn't really clear what I do next or how I find out when I should come and visit or what's going on. Are you starting to see how these two email responses are really never going to drive results, are never going to get good responses, and are not going to move people through the sales journey? Is this starting to make sense? Okay. So the first thing we need to do, we're coming now into writing your framework. So the first thing we need to do before we can do that is understand your what and your why. Your why is, why are you better than your competitors? You really need to know this. You got to know what it is that makes you better. Why are you different? If you had the same package, the same price, the same product, why do they choose you? Why do they choose you? What do many of your reviews say about you? This will often give you a clue as to why people are choosing you in the first place. What is it that makes you stand out? And what, in the end, are the main reasons couples book you? What are the main reasons couples book you? Now, you're going to need to spend a little bit of time on this, because once you've got some what's and whys, it makes the 4-part framework much easier to write. Without any what's and whys, you're going to get a little bit stuck. So you will need to spend some time on this one. So here it is, guys, the 4-step formula. I'm going to take you through it step by step. Don't worry, I'm going to give you examples, and we're going to start writing your new response inquiry, your new inquiry response. So 4 steps. We got the hook, the transaction, the next step, and the delight or excite. This is our 4-step process. So let's start with the hook. This is your first, so let me just go back here. These 4 steps are 4 paragraphs. Remember, we're keeping it short and snappy. We want to really make sure that every sentence we write has a value, has impact. And so we're keeping it to 4 paragraphs maximum, because we don't want people to scan our email and think we'll come back to it later. So these are our 4 paragraphs. Number 1, the hook. Our aim with the hook is to capture your couple's attention instantly. We need to give them a flavor of your business. And you can also consider asking a question that identifies them as being the right person in the right place with the right venue or supplier. So let me give you some examples. You might open with, are you looking for relaxed yet super stylish images that capture your wedding day? Have you been searching for a professional photographer that, and then add a what or a why? Okay, so this is your opening paragraph. Hello, Lucy. Are you looking for relaxed yet super stylish? Oh my goodness. Hello, Lucy. Are you looking for relaxed yet super stylish images that capture your wedding day? Have you been searching for a professional photographer that, what and why? Make sense? Okay, here's another example. Doesn't have to start with a question, although questions work very well. Welcome to XYZ House. With a 2-mile tree-lined drive, the moment you step onto our grounds, every corner of our 22 acres provides a stunning backdrop for your photographs. And then we carry on. So what we're doing here is instantly opening with a flavor of the venue. I don't need to open the brochure. I can already picture the driveway, the trees, the acres, the photography is going to be amazing. Do you see how instantly we're starting to connect with our couple? Okay. Paragraph number 2. So number 1 with the hook, we've got that paragraph. It gives a flavor, it captures, it gets them connected. Number 2 is the transaction. Now the transaction, if you like, is kind of the boring bit. So we're going to do a little sandwich here. You've probably seen this kind of thing before, where you do something nice at the beginning, nice at the end, and in the middle is the bit that people don't really want to have. So the transaction is answering their questions and delivering the key information and links. So for example, here's where you're going to put, full details of our services can be found by clicking here, and you'll find a few suggestions on how to work with us, as well as bespoke options. So ultimately what you're saying is, click here to see the brochure. We are not putting all of the pricing and all of the options in the body of the email. Your information either needs to be linked to a page on your website or a brochure download. Does this make sense? We're not putting that information in the body. We're putting a link to a website page, or indeed saying that it's attached. Here is also where you're going to talk about date, because they will have asked about availability most likely. And again, you're going to pepper that with enthusiasm. Great news, 20th of April is currently available and our gardens are incredible in springtime as the daffodils are in abundance. You could also, because they might not have asked for a specific date, because our couples often say, what Saturdays do you have, or la la la. Great news, we have 2 Saturdays left in July, 2nd or 3rd. The third paragraph is the next step. So we've done a hook, we've hooked them in. We've talked about our transactional stuff. So we've answered their questions. If they asked about wheelchair access, this is where we talk about the pricing, links to the pricing in our brochures. The third paragraph is your next step. We are going to tell them exactly, in no uncertain terms, what happens next. There is no fluffing around. There's no leaving it to them to guess. We're going to tell them. And we're going to give them 3 clear choices or a clickable calendar. 3 clear choices or a clickable calendar. Okay, let me show you how this looks. So first of all, if you had enough information to recap that you are the right venue or supplier for your couple, then please spoon feed it back that you are the right person. So for example, if you know this information, Laura, as we have your date available, we're the perfect size for your guest numbers, and we have the outdoor ceremony option you were looking for, the only thing left for you to do is come and see us in person. Here are the next 3 available tour times. So do you see what we're doing here? We've recapped that we're the right venue or supplier, and then we've said here are the 3 next times that you could visit. Let's put this in a different way. Let's say your next step goes like this. You must have lots of questions at this exciting time. Remember, our couples are not experts. Remember how overwhelmed they are. This really pushes a pain point. They do have questions. So you must have lots of questions at this exciting time. Other couples, ding, 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 have found an in-person tour over a glass of bubbles meant we could answer many of their wedding planning questions. Click here to book your tour easily into the diary at any time. And that click here would link to something like Calendly, where they can book their tour directly without having to go back and forth talking to you. Is this making sense? Okay, let's give another example. You must have lots of questions about how to find the right photographer for you. Yeah, they do have that question. My other couples, ding, 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 have found that a brief video call helped to answer those questions, as well as get a feel if we'd be a good fit to work together. Click here to book a call easily into our diary at a time that suits your schedule. Okay, let me just break this one down. You must have lots of questions. They're going to nod. Yes, they do. Other couples, this is what other people do. Brief video call. I'm not going to take 3 hours of your life. Brief video call. Help to answer those questions. This is not a sales pitch. As well as get a feel if we'd be a good fit to work together. Do you see how enjoyable that's going to be for the couple to say, great, let's jump on that video call with this photographer because I do have questions and I would like to see if we're going to be a good fit. And all I have to do is click here. Don't have to go back and forth on email. I'm just going to click here and it's going to pop up something like Calendly to book a call easily using the words that resonate with people. Click here to book a call easily into my diary at a time that suits your schedule. How is this starting to feel? Can you see how these kind of phrases and words, when we're talking about the next step, means we're not being manipulative, we're not being pushy salespeople, we're simply saying, this is how you must feel, this is what we can do next, and this is how you do it. You click here or you choose a tour time. Good so far? Okay, let's carry on. Our 4th paragraph is what we call the delight and excite. We've got to finish our email leaving the reader feeling delighted or excited. What we're trying to do here is end on emotion. You cannot end on a next step or a transaction because it's cold and it's logic. So what we need to do is end on emotion. And these are the kind of things that you really need your whats and whys for. So these are the kind of phrases you could use. You just need one, not all of them, at the end of your email. When you choose ABC Hotel for your wedding, you can expect added a what's or why. Rest assured, here at ABC Florists, adding a what or a why. Count on myself and my team too. Your wedding photography, excuse the typo, your wedding photography will be da da da. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these phrases and we're just going to allow our couple to feel excited or delighted before they close off the email. So that formula, once again, hook, we're going to give them an essence of your venue, your product, or your service. We're going to talk about the transactional stuff, answering their questions, giving them links to brochures and pricing. It's not in the body of the email. The third paragraph is clearly the next step, why they would want to take the next step, what that's going to solve for them, and critically, how they do it. And then we're going to end with a delight or excite. So to round up, we have to think how we want our reader to feel. What's in it for them? Every time we write an email, how are they going to feel? We're going to ditch our old school phrases, and we're going to use the 4-step email template. So your actions are to write out your what's and whys and to create the 4-step response email. Now, I did promise you 2 bonus points at the end of this email, and one of them is your out of office. I see loads of out of offices which are really detrimental to the business. And what I mean by that is they either say, you know, we're so busy that we can't answer your email right now, or they are just simply, thank you for your email, we will respond as soon as possible. What I'd love you to do is inject some personality. If you're on holiday, tell them you're on holiday. I'm currently, well, in the current climate, maybe not, but I'm currently enjoying some downtime with the family in Wales, or I'm currently on a beach in Mexico. You know, you can show some personality. Now, I probably wouldn't say, you know, I'm drinking margaritas and nursing a hangover, but I definitely would share that I'm maybe with the family, recharging the batteries. That human connection actually is a positive thing, and it works in your favor. You can also add links in your out of office. So if you know that people always have questions about your packages or your pricing, you can link them to that page on the website. So when you are saying, you know, great that we've received your email, in the meantime, before I respond, here's a link to X, Y, and Z. Here's a link to A, B, C to take them off to a different place that's useful to them. And the second bonus tip that I have for you is your signature banner. So when you are sending your emails, you really should have a really clean and crisp signature banner. For those of you that are part of hotel groups or chains, you will probably already have this covered. But for lots of us, we actually need to create this ourselves, and canva.com is a great place to create your email banner. What you want is one banner only. The more messages you put, the more buttons, the more logos, the less the message is received. So one clear banner is much better than 5, because they won't see the 5, they will see the 1. And what you can do is on your email banner is actually put a very short, snappy testimonial. So it might be just one sentence from your bride or your groom saying how epic you were at dealing with their wedding. And having that in your email banner just finishes off your email with a little extra glitter to show that you are a great person to work with. So I'd love to know how you get on with this module. I can't wait to see the examples of your new emails, and more importantly, to see you start getting results, stop getting ghosted, and actually get your couples responding and moving along the sales journey. I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.